Okay, you can see now I have the slats are finished on the side of the planks or slats are finished on the side of this cube. So the next thing that needs to happen is to put slats or the lid across the top of this box. So let me zoom out a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of custom fit this. We're going to take some of our balsa wood scrap from before, get a pencil. We're actually going to place it over the top of our box. And these pieces are going to be longer than the pieces we used before, because remember, these fit the 3/4 inch side of the crate. So if I were to try to use these for the lid, what would happen is they would come up short. Okay, you see, so what would happen is they would not be long enough to look realistic as the top of this box. So I'm going to custom make the top portion of this box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this balsa wood over the top. I'm going to draw myself a line. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to end up with more wood than I need, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eye this, and I'm going to cut between those two lines with my X-Acto knife. I'm going to make sure I got a good width for this. Okay, I didn't make a great cut. That's not the end of the world. This half's a little better. I'm actually going to just cut this right about here. And like I did before, I'm going to cut some planks out of this piece of wood. So I'm going to cut little slices. Okay, again. You're going to get some imperfections when you work with balsa wood more often than not. And that's fine, because the Iron Kingdoms is an imperfect world and the terrain should reflect that. This is not, 21st century manufacturing in our world. This is Iron Kingdom's steampunk style stuff, right? So that's okay. So now I've got my crate. And now, just like we did before, I'm going to get a little bit more glue on there because my supply is dried out on me. I'm going to get a little more glue on my cardboard. There we go. I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to again apply some glue to a side of the cube, but this time the top. So I'm applying glue to the top of this cube as such. Get a little on the edges here. I'm going to go to the top. Now I'm going to take my lid planks and just start putting them in there. Vary them up so there's some variation, although I do want them to lay flat. Okay, hopefully you can see how that's coming along. This glue dries fast under the hot lights I got here for to make it easy to see when I paint my miniatures. So I'm racing a little bit, but it's doing the trick. It's going to work out great. I see on the end there I'm going to need a little bit more glue. I'm hanging over the edge. Not as much surface area. I'm going to make sure I get a good stick. I need to use a nice thin piece there to finish that off. Get the flat side down. And that is going to go right there. Alright, so what you can see now is that we have our crate structure basically done. The next step, which is a fun step, is we're going to dress this up with some metal reinforcements, in reality plastic yard sign. Okay, so let's watch that step next. Okay, now for the first thing I want to mention before we go into making the metal reinforcements for this is that we did the sides, we did all four sides, we did the longer slats across the top, but we didn't do anything on the bottom. Now that's your choice. If you wanted to do the bottom, you would do it just the way we just did the top with the longer slats. This is going to be sitting on your board as a piece of terrain. No one's really going to see the bottom. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that, so I just want to mention that. But let's go on to our metal reinforcement plates. The metal reinforcement plates are made from plastic for sale sign. Okay, so let me zoom out. Give you an idea of what I'm talking about. These deals here you can buy at, Walmart for 97 cents. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to put your metal crate on the edge of your sign, your source of plastic, you might say, and you are going to, let me see if I can get a good angle to show you. When you put that crate on the edge of your plastic, and yeah, you could choose sheet styrene plastic if you want to be fancy. You're going to mark, oh sorry, I didn't do a great job. You are going to mark the edge of that, and I'm going to do it up here too. Mark the edge. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my plastic and I'm going to cut more or less down that line. It doesn't matter if I'm perfect. Okay, that's already more plastic than I need, so I'm just going to cut that piece off, get rid of the sign. Now you can decide how thick you want your metal reinforcement plates to be. Just a reminder for the finished product, we're talking about something like this. So, 2 to 3 millimeters is fine in terms of the width of these pieces. So I'm just going to eye it. I like eyeing Warmachine terrain because, again, it gives them that randomness. We could get exact. We could use straight edges. We could get in there and make sure that measurements are perfect. But I don't feel like they'd be doing that when they build things like crates, in the world of the Iron Kingdoms. So I am going to make this fairly random and then just pick the pieces that I kind of like. Now, let me just check real quick. Okay, one of these plates, because they look a little long to me. And they are. Well, they are some places and they are in others. So I'm just going to snip a couple of these down. See, that's what I get for telling you about how you should just eye it, right? I made them too long. That's okay. Look, this is an easy fix. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply these as if they are metal reinforcing plates, these pieces of plastic on the side of my crate, alright, as such. And what's going to end up looking like is something like that in the end. Alright, so that's the idea. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your disposable paintbrush, right, and you are going to either put glue right on the back of your plastic reinforcements, or you're going to put glue right on the crate. I'm just going to draw a line of glue across the crate where I know that reinforcement's going. To me, that's just an easy way to do it, so that's the way I'm going to approach it. I know I've got one going there. I'm going to put that on there and just lay it in. Alright, so what I'm going to do with my next one is pretty much the same thing. Draw my line of glue across the crate. Pick out my metal reinforcement and more or less slap it on. Okay, now you might want to have these a little cockeyed, like I did on this side of my model here. I kind of like that look, but in the end it's going to come together and look nice. So I'm going to go about finishing the sides of this crate, and then I'll show you the finished product in just a second.